Hey everyone, my name is Savannah Slay. I teach kindergarten. This is my ninth year teaching kindergarten, believe it or not. I graduated way back in 2015, and I actually had Dr. Strickland, but I've taught with the Gulfport School District now for 9 years. I was at BioView for my first 5 years, and I'm currently at 28th Street Elementary, going on my fourth year there. I've mostly always taught kindergarten. There was one year where I taught first grade. We actually had our 100th day today, and I still have silver hairspray in my hair from dressing like a grandma. But I know we were supposed to start out by saying how we feel about teaching math, and honestly, I've always been more of an English girl, artsy girl. Math was never my super strong subject, but I did okay in like algebra and things like that. I didn't really go into any more advanced courses in high school, but what I basically needed. Um, Being in kindergarten, I feel okay about teaching math because the standards are so basic and they're just learning everything about math, and it's kind of exciting. But at the same time, it can get a little frustrating. It's definitely more of a challenge. Students are coming in way lower than they ever have before. So that leads me to go over the article I chose, which I found very interesting. It was an article about associating and comparing like a teacher's own personal math anxiety towards students' math performance. And it kind of focused mainly on females because it was looking at gender, and most elementary teachers are female, and it was actually proven that obviously the higher the teacher's math anxiety was, the more likely their students were going to have it as well and not perform as well. um, at the beginning of the year when they looked at it, the teacher's attitude wasn't affecting it, but by the end of the year there was a lot of proof and correlation between teachers that had more anxiety about teaching math and their students not growing. And they looked specifically at female students versus male students. And the female students' anxiety was a lot higher. So I found that pretty interesting. I know I definitely have moments where I feel anxious when I feel like my students aren't learning the material or understanding it, no matter how I'm trying to present it. It can get frustrating. So, our next assignment was to watch the video, which at first I had some trouble with, but I finally got it going. Some things that interest me or shocked me were, I know the man mentioned teachers still misusing technology when they're teaching math, that they use it more of a like check answer type thing, but not to actually use it as a real tool, which obviously we do use in real life. I know math nowadays is taught to apply in daily life because that's why we need so many of the skills, obviously. And then another thing he said was like he was talking about how some teachers still may confuse standards versus curriculum. And I think that's important to consider when we teach, because standards are, you can find multiple materials. Hopefully where you teach or your school allows you. I know we have more of a teacher autonomy now to where we can pull other resources if, we need to. And a curriculum is designed kind of like to pace you, but he made really good points about how it depends on the type of group you may have that year. Some groups may grasp a certain skill quicker than others, and then they might be able to move on quicker. But if students are not getting, for instance, if I still have students that aren't understanding addition, I'm probably not going to move on to subtraction yet because my pacing guide and the curriculum is telling me to, they still need to understand adding first. So I thought those were important points. 3 best math practices. So I'm moving into my 3-2-1 activity. I definitely liked how he said that one practice is to get with your coworkers and to discuss together how teaching the lessons are going and asking what's working for them or what might not be working, and sharing resources. I think it's really important to not, he made a comment, something like, you're not in it all by yourself. You're not alone in this. You have other people that are doing the same things and you can collaborate with them. So I think that's a good practice to use. And I know I wish my team and I had used it more. We don't really plan together in math. We kind of just say, okay, this is the lesson we're teaching this week. And I mean, it would be nice to collaborate more. And then I guess another best practice is like for older students, I think using a guess and check method, like if you have all that testing now and if you really are that stuck on a problem, trying to plug in those answers and guessing it and working it out. And then another thing I noted was building fluency. I just think that's really important in younger grades, like just to have that fluency. Even though like the subitizing, the counting, even though I always encourage counting on your fingers, I still think it's important that students can subitize and see numbers, on the dice and the arrays, and we're working right now on adding on fact fluency in kindergarten right now. So 2 high yield routines you use to review math skills. So this is a fun one. We do calendar every morning after a morning meeting, and that's one of my favorite times to go over math skills. We have our big hundreds chart. Doing like a mystery number. We always count to 100, count by tens, look at the patterns in the numbers. I love teaching them the patterns in numbers, odd, even, things like that. But we always do we'll do a missing number where I make them close their eyes and then I pick a number out of the chart to take away, and they open their eyes and they're supposed to wait and raise their hand, but a lot of them, tend to shout it out because they're excited. But then we talk about how we knew it was the number, why it was that number, what numbers are around it, what patterns we see. They love that. We call that the mystery number. And then I also have I got it on Amazon. It's like a number bond set with magnets that you can put on your board, and we talk about the whole and part, and we usually use our number of the day from that calendar. Like the other day we used, I think it was 19, I feel like. Have we really not done it in that long? But we also go over the fact families. We talk about addition and subtraction with those 3 numbers, how we can start with our whole, take our part away, or put our parts together to get our whole. So that's a great way to reinforce those skills students need, because my kids some of them come in not knowing how to count or write anything or their numbers. So that's where we start. But once we've moved past that, we get into adding and subtracting within 10. And a lot of them really struggle with that. So, or knowing the difference between, that's where we're kind of struggling right now. If anyone has any good strategies, they struggle to differentiate between the plus and minus sign. So we're working on it. So those were my 2 routines I use, the mystery number and the number bonds. And then a problem I see in my grade level. I've kind of mentioned it already, but how low they do come in, like they almost come in on a pre-K level or lower, the fact that they don't know how to count or write any numerals. And then I think like the pacing guide, which I know it's just there as a pacing guide, but like our curriculum, the way it jumps around, I know my district has actually personally taken some lessons and we've moved them around on our own pacing guide. So we've kind of worked it out already. However, still some of the actual curriculum materials are just hard to use with these children because they just have a hard time grasping. It's like you have to be pretty advanced or on level to take it and run with it with what they provide for us. So there's a lot of reinforcing those things and enriching it with other materials and strategies. But all right, well, I think that covers everything, but I look forward to having a great semester and I enjoy watching some other videos. But thank you guys. Have a good one.